Hello and welcome to this video containing Ofsted and observations brought to you by the NASUWT. In the current classroom arena, you may find, more often than not, overworked teachers experiencing emotional pressure and stress. Recent NASUWT surveys indicate this situation often stems from bureaucracy and the latest round of internal lesson observations, learning walks and drop-ins. At the core lies the mantra of preparing for Ofsted and the school's position in the exam league tables. Failure of the school and failure individually in the classroom are real fears for many teachers who may face capability procedures and ultimately redundancy if they fail to beat the odds to produce the perfect lessons every time. The aim of this video is simply to help you, the classroom teacher, take back some control of your teaching. So let's get started. First of all, let's look at what Ofsted actually make graded judgments on. After all, lesson observations should be a positive experience when carried out properly. There are 6 main areas that Ofsted make graded judgments on. These areas are overall effectiveness, effectiveness of leadership and management, quality of teaching, learning and assessment, personal development, behaviour and welfare, outcomes for children and learners, and the effectiveness of early years and sixth form provision where applicable. Within these judgments as a classroom teacher, you should be mainly concerned with the quality of teaching, learning and assessment, the personal development, behaviour and welfare of students, and the outcomes for children and learners. No, Ofsted no longer give graded judgments on teachers. So with this in mind, what can you take control of? Firstly, you can begin by creating a positive climate for learning. Stand and look at your teaching area. Does it exhibit high expectations, clear boundaries, and collaborative learning? Are behavioural expectations clear, creative, and inductive, or do you rely on that curled A4 sheet behind the desk? Remember that first impressions count, and by addressing your environment, you can really help set the tone for the lesson ahead. When Ofsted inspectors arrive, they will look for clear objectives that show your intentions for what children will learn and how these objectives will be achieved. You need to ensure that aims, objectives and outcomes are accessible to students. Start by recapping your objectives when the observer arrives in the room. You can also try to make your lesson objectives about a topic that your pupils know very little about. This means it may be easier to demonstrate progress when carrying out plenaries. Encourage engagement with your learners by adopting a proactive teaching method, covering the needs of your students, and remember to share the learning journey. Inspectors will not expect to find a particular model such as a 3, 5-part or accelerated learning cycle format for lesson planning, but they are very much interested in the impact of planning on your teaching and pupil learning. The most important part of teaching is to raise pupils' achievement. Another area in which you can take back control is to remember to be active in the learning journey. If your lesson involves group work, don't become the facilitator. By using we and not you offers a much more unified environment for learning. It's important to engage in dialogue with pupils. You can do this by adopting a range of questioning techniques and opening the floor out for feedback and discussions. At whole class, group or individual levels, use skillful questioning to ascertain understanding, which will enable you to reshape a task or give further explanation if necessary. Done well, this also means that pupils are clear about how they are doing and what they have to do next. Teachers improve the quality of learning by systematically and effectively checking pupils' understanding in lessons and making appropriate interventions. Wherever possible, mention in front of the observer feedback you have given to your pupils previously. For example, "That's right, Susan, you remembered what I said to you about your last piece of work." Or "Great work, Amir, now you need to increase the amount of detail in your answers." Progress in lessons has been a big priority. This will ultimately be the judgment which dictates the overall judgment of teaching and learning across your school. More interestingly, this can also impact on the judgment on attainment. By applying effective data collection, you will then be able to plan, monitor and evaluate progress of your class. Ofsted do not have any predetermined view as to what specific assessment systems a school should use. Inspectors' main interest will be whether the approach adopted by a school is effective. They will be looking to see what it provides, accurate information showing the progress pupils are making. The information should be meaningful for pupils, parents and governors. The next area you can control is your marking and constructive feedback to the pupil that you teach, and look at how this contributes to their learning. Be sure to follow your school policy and, as a general rule of thumb, provide feedback about every 4 lessons. Ensure your comments are clear and succinct. Seating plans and lesson plans are a great way to show you have a plan for every one of your pupils. Make sure you know who your vulnerable students are and where they are seated. Vulnerable students often have the least amount of work. Ensure you develop the concept of best work folder or book, and don't let them take this away with them. This is where the best work is written up and after it has been developed in the exercise books. You can highlight differentiation to observers by using different tasks, resources, support or outcomes. If you are feeling nervous during the Ofsted visit, why not have a backup plan to any possible chat with an inspector in your classroom? An active learning file containing evidence of a range of teaching and learning styles and activities that clearly promote student learning and progress is one plan to consider. It can prove to be a useful icebreaker and a source of comfort knowing your well-maintained file highlighting best practice is available. By adopting a positive attitude and treating every day as an Ofsted observation day, you can develop these routine strategies. Whilst nothing is guaranteed, by understanding what expectations of lesson observations are and what specifically is being looked for, it gives you a better chance of meeting those expectations of the observer. We may not agree with all these demands nor the way the process is undertaken, but when faced with an Ofsted inspection, it helps enormously to be prepared with the actual requirements and information that could lead to a successful outcome. Being prepared is likely to reduce the stresses involved. Use this information, advice and guidance to overcome any Ofsted on observation anxieties. Good luck.